What's up, beautiful people, to another episode of Unapologetically Christian. It's me, Ricky Jones Jr., and for those that are watching on YouTube, you can see the lovely Anijah. However, before she says anything, I have an intro, okay? Because I prayed and I talked to God. I asked for wisdom on how this podcast episode should flow and go. And I have some tidbits about you, but I also have an intro for you. Now, I'm going to just put this out here for the people, okay? She did say that she's nervous, which I don't know why. However, you know, it is what it is.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
I talked in front of camera, so it's nervous.
See, she's not that nervous because she already started talking, right? I already told her I was going to talk first, then you was going to talk. But then she's talking because she's not nervous. So that means we're going to have a good time. But for your intro,
okay,
are you ready? So it goes like this. Get ready to be inspired and empowered. Anijah is here to share with you how to live your best life and be a disruptor for the kingdom of God. From makeup tutorials to unique dance moves, Anijah shares her creativity journey with the world. Be sure to focus in as we learn how to unleash our inner creativity and find joy in our daily lives. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have the oh-so great Anijah. Yo. Anijah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Actually,
You good. You look nice.
Thank you.
Did you coordinate that yourself?
With my outfit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like put it together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never know. Because, you know, people nowadays do all kinds of things.
Well, no, yeah. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not today. Welcome back to Tampa. I will say that you were once before living in Valdosta, Georgia, but now you're back in Tampa, where it is home, right? You're from Tampa.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so you're back at home. How is that? How was it being back in Tampa?
At first it felt foreign just because they've changed so many things.
Very
it just
true.
looks different, like the landscaping of it. And then we're back in Brandon. I was more in South Tampa, so like the whole atmosphere is a little bit different. And then I left. Married, and I came back with the baby, so it's just like different, like so I've never been married with a child in Tampa, so it's just kind of like a whole new figuring out. I have family here, I have friends here, so up there it's just us three, so just trying to figure out and navigate, like, okay, how do I do this now? Spend time with my family, make time for, you know, my baby and husband. So it's been a learning experience. I'm learning how to like navigate it.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I love that. See, like, you just are leading the conversation, right? Because before we get into you being a disruptor for the kingdom of God, as God shared with me that you are, let's talk about what you were doing in Valdosta. Now, you are a military wife.
Yes.
Your husband was in the military. Now he is out. However, what was that like, being a military wife?
It's funny because I've always said I do not want to marry someone in the military.
Whoa,
and then
got him.
God was like, huh? So it was different. I had to understand. I didn't really utilize like all the resources they have for military spouses, like just like the community, different programs they have, job opportunities, stuff like that. I kind of like stayed in my shell, but I think because I was just more so. It was new, so I was just like, okay, I don't want to meet new friends. I already have friends in Tampa. I don't want to try nothing new because I was so focused on like my comfort back home. I always think about like, okay, well, this is what I did home. I don't have this here, but I slowly realized that I am what I make it. So I had to get out there, and I started meeting new people, and I started utilizing things. I took a scholarship that they offered. I met a couple friends, and we ended up having like the same story. So it's crazy how like when you are in the military, it feels like there's so many different people, but so many people have like the same story. So I was able to relate to a couple different women, and we were just going through some similarities that we talked about. But luckily some people like to travel and get deployed, but we stayed in Valdosta for the most part, which was nice because we could still come home, visit family. But it is different because you're taken kind of away from your comfort.
True.
So that was hard for me because I was always just kind of, okay, this is my safety, this is where I'm at. So it just made me grow as a person. It's kind of just us two, you know, for the first 2 years, and then learning each other and just being supportive because it is a stressful career in the military. So I just had to be very supportive of him. A lot of changes, like the military, sometimes it's like, okay, we need you to do this right now. So I had to be, you know, adaptable and adjustable. Okay, like, but you told me this. He's like, well, now my assignment is this. So I had to be, okay, it's okay. Scheduling, sometimes he would work from like 11 a.m. to, or no, 11 p.m. to like 7 a.m. So, you know, going to bed alone by myself in a new, you know, state, city. So it's hard, but it allowed me to kind of grow and be my own. I was always my own person, but kind of be my own person, like growing up.
Right,
so,
as an adult.
Yeah, that's the word. Adult. I'm an adult now.
Right. You're a real adult.
So yeah, that's kind of how it's been. But like I said, we didn't really deploy or travel much, so I didn't get that whole aspect of it. But it is still, you know, and then you meet different people and things like that.
So why do you think you stepped out of your comfort zone? Like before you were, like you said, in the shell, trying to be to yourself, but then you realize, okay, or whatever. What made you shift? What made you make to say, I need to meet more people, get out?
My husband, Zach, he kind of pushed me and was kind of, because that's what he did. He was up there by himself. So he's like, I had to almost like force yourself to go out. It's okay. Which he was right, because I was like, no, it's not going to be the same. Like I felt bad. Like if I met new friends, I'm cheating on my friends. I can't have new friends. Or like I didn't want to feel like I was cheating on the church. Like if I went and explored different churches. So I would stay, you know, streaming it. I was like, no, like stay talking with my friends. I'm like, I'm not meeting new people. But honestly, it's God called us all to do a certain thing. So I think as you begin to put yourself out there, like you become influential to these people, or you become the light in those certain situations. So I think it's just about like being obedient to listening to him, 'cause I think that's what he wanted me to do. Looking back on it, I think we're all one body of Christ. So for me, I think thinking about it at first, I was like, I've been at RTM for 20 years? No, 23 years. Since 2000. So what's that? 23 years. 23. So I was like, I'm not going to no new church. But I didn't end up going, but we were exploring different churches. But I think that I had to realize too, like, it's okay that, you know, we're all one body. So it's not like I was cheating on the church. We're all serving, you know, the same God. So, and I think, you know, I could have been, I don't know. We can't talk about that.
Yeah. Well, no, I like that, because to your point of in your life story of you being a military wife and not deploying and things like that, but knowing some military wives do. But then even if the listeners listening, they're saying, well, I'm not a military wife, but you may find yourself moving somewhere in life, and you may have to move another state, move to another city. How would you suggest for them to divorce the thought of cheating on your friends, therefore I'm not going to meet new people? Like, how did you make that switch? Or what was like the need to say, okay, like I have my friends back home. They're going to always be my friends. However, I can meet new friends where I am. And things like that.
I think what happened with me is like, okay, well, right now in this season, you're here. So right now, I'm in this season here. So allowing myself just to be a certain like outlet for those people, knowing that, okay, you have this relationship with your friends, so maybe, you know, what you got from that friendship you can pour into another person. So I had to stop thinking about me. I'm like, okay, this, because it was one point where this girl was kind of like gravitating to me a lot, and I was just kind of like reserved. I'm like, I don't want to. But as I began to talk to her and open up, I was really helpful for her during the time she was going through. We ended up going through a similar situation, and I'm happy now I'm thinking about it, that I allowed myself to kind of just be open and be there for her, because it was almost like it wasn't about me, it was about her, it was about the relationship that I was building. And I think that's kind of what helped me. Okay, this is not about me. I'm here for a reason. So God, what do you want me to do in this relationship? I know I'm kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, my friends are going to feel this certain way, but it's like, no, you still have those friends. They still love you, but you're still building this relationship with this person in this season. So I think that's kind of what helped me get through it.
I dig that. So even as you were in your new space, in your new place, did you allow for who you are and we're here, right? So the Anijah that I came in contact with here in Tampa, you were a dancer, you did childcare. That was like your bread and butter. That's where you worked at a childcare facility, and you did like those things. Did you take that there and do those things there, or were you like, I can finally like try something new and like this is who I am today? You take on a new identity as you found yourself?
Yeah, I kind of stayed job-wise in childcare, and then once I had my son, it was like, okay, I want to be there with him, so I stayed there with him. But it's funny though too, because when I was back in Tampa before, I was like going so much, I didn't have any time for rest. So in that season, God was just kind of having me just rest, like just do nothing. At first I was like, I'm so used to boom, boom. It felt weird. I didn't accept it at first because I'm just so used to being on go.
Yes.
And it was just like, okay, I have nothing like to do, and it just felt weird because it was like a new space, new. I was just taken out of everything, but I had to really just soak it all in. Okay, just rest. What is God doing? And He, I think in that time, I was so. I'm about to detour to another topic, but I was just so hard on my body. He really wanted me to rest and just kind of take care of my body, which I think, was for a certain reason, which we, me and Zach wanted to start having children. That was something that was brought up. So I think in that time, God was just like, no, rest. This is the season, I'm going to start blessing you guys with children. So I want you to be physically in a certain position to, become a mom. So I think it's crazy. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's how I think He wanted it to go out. So I was just relaxed, like just at peace, just like, it's okay that you don't have to do this. Just kind of figuring out who I am. And just because I've always been Anijah the mom, Anijah the friend, Anijah the dancer, Anijah the this. And it was just like, who am I for myself? So that helped me kind of just like analyze and just sit back and think about like different things I want for me as I, go to the next chapter.
Yeah, no, that's so good, because I will even say for me, when I went out to college, that's when I had that awakening to self and had confidence in who I was, the abilities that I had, and knowing that God was for me. And so I received that then. But hearing your story, knowing that you were doing all things, right? And obviously God was still present with you in those things. However, when you went to Valdosta, you had time to just be, right? God slowed you down so you can be, and you were able to learn yourself in those things. And you did say that you did some things for your health wise. What was some of those things, if you could share any of them? How did you get yourself aligned? Because looking at you, right, you've always been slim, you looked in shape to me, right? So like what
that's the thing. People would think, oh, you're so small. So like just my eating habits, I wasn't eating enough, and I wasn't eating the right foods. Like I would just get like Chick-fil-A and just be fine, like one meal a day, and a bag of chips later, like, and I'll be fine. But that wasn't like your body, like you can't survive off of that. So I had to eat more, better, healthier foods, just eat actually like a good 3 meals a day, just drinking more water, just being easy on my body, because I think the mixture of dancing, and the lack of eating kind of just like put my body in like a defense stress
mode.
So it was just kind of like, okay, I can slow down. I can think about what I want to eat. Oh, I can have breakfast and a snack and lunch and dinner. Like, okay, without being on the go. So that really helped me. And then like my weight gain went back up. So it was just a lot of those little things that, I didn't realize I was being so hard on my body. But as like time slowed down for me, I was able to kind of see it and do something about it.
Yeah, no, that's good, because I'm even thinking like knowing women in general, moms in general, wives in general, maybe in a period where they're wanting to have children. And so could it be that there are some things that you should do prior to having kids. There's some things that your body may want for you to do before you start having kids. And just knowing how you were able to go and be able to do those things. However, not all moms, parents, wives are able just to, make a move to woosah, but they may have to do it where they currently are. They may have to say no sometimes to obligations that they may have, to places that they are and things like that. Like, how would you recommend for them to realize that may be what their body needs for them to do what they desire to do?
And that's kind of something I'm into now since being back. I think you know yourself, you know your body best, and I think as people, we want to give to others, we want to help others, we extend ourselves to the point where we forget about ourselves. So I had to
we extend ourselves to the point that we forget about ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Dribble. Hope you caught it.
Yeah, but so what I had to do is purposely start thinking about me and not feeling bad. It's like, okay, if someone asks me to do something, okay, well, not right now, I can't do that, I'm actually doing this. Or like times where, you know, oh, can you come down and help for this? I was like, well, I was actually planning to come down this day and just kind of sticking to it, because then I'm like, oh wait, but I can move this around. And I'm like, no, Anijah, it's okay. Like, this is what you already had planned, you know, stick to that. And the people, I would say there's people who really love you and genuinely care about you will be okay with that. And that's what I had to realize too. 'Cause I'm like, they're going to be so mad. I'm like, no, they're going to understand, you know. It's okay to say no sometimes. I think we just think that they're just going to be mad or whatever the case may be. But I think just putting yourself first. And I think as adults, we appreciate that. Okay, no, mentally, I'm right here right now. I just can't do that. Okay. And I think that's too, you have to communicate that. Just don't be like, no, you know, just kind of like, hey, right now I would love to help, but I can't. I have this, and this. So, and I just think like anybody who, you know, understands that will just be like, okay, and not pressure you into doing something. Because if somebody's pressuring you, they don't have your best intentions anyways. So good. I think you just got to remember to put, you know, time for yourself. It's okay. Like, care for yourself, like simple things, self-care, whatever. Write it down. That's what helps me. I write it down. Like, make time for yourself. It's okay to say no, and just read those things. And I think as you continue to practice it, it gets easier. It's sometimes still working through, like when people ask me to do something, I'm like, I really want to do it, but it's like, I can't. Now I'm married and I have babies, so I can't up and go how I used to. So it's just a different, you know, a different season for things. So I think that's,
I love that. So parameters, boundaries, but then also sticking to what you have set in place, I think, are the main things that I pulled from that will be beneficial for somebody to grow, to develop, as well as to be physically where they need to be, despite the different things that they've done. So dancing wise, right? Knowing that you are creative, you have creative capabilities and, you know, things like that. So mine that I know, you could throw in ones that I may not know or we may not know, is that you can dance.
Okay.
You're an awesome dancer. I would say that you are a makeup artist as well, because I can see your face. And I would say as well that you are a storyteller. Right? You might not even think that, but I prayed, and that was one of the things that came my way. Are there any more creative gifts that are in there?
I have a couple. And this, I get insecure with this because it's like, I enjoy doing so many things.
Of course. Don't we all? So, I do as well. But talk through the insecurity. What makes you say, and why do you say it makes you insecure?
Cause I don't know. I feel like, to me, like, what a successful person looks like is a person who knows exactly what they want to do and why they're doing it. And, you know, it's like, okay, you know, the person, like, I grow up, I'm going to be, you know, a doctor or something. And they go to school, they study for it, they become, and it's just this one thing. And it's just like, they look so good doing it, they're so confident. And for me, it's like, I'm starting so many different things, and I just feel like I'm not fully
engulfed and
focused and it's just like, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I don't like that feeling.
So let's talk about that. I like that. And I say let's talk about that because I'm in that space too, right? Okay, and if you know my wife, you know she's a wife and a woman of many talents as well. So, okay, name your things. I'll name my things, and we'll talk through the things. Okay,
so my love for children, and that has like a branch. So my love for children, so childcare. How am I going to break this down? So childcare, and I enjoy helping others, like serving others. So that went into, I'm actually in school now to become a medical assistant. Okay. So I'm going into the medical field. So I'm like, oh, pediatrics. So kind of with that, serving others. I enjoy crafting, doing decorating for birthday parties or different events. So that's one of them. Like my own personal kind of like hobbies, of course, dancing. I don't think anybody knows this, but maybe my husband, but I enjoy writing music and lyrics, a little bit of poetry, but it'd be crazy. I'd just be, when I was at work at the daycare, I would just be sitting there with the kids, and like beats and lyrics would like come to my head, and I would write them like on napkins or like construction paper, and I would keep all that stuff to me. What is this? So music, I'm like, I can't sing, so I'm just like, what is this? So like writing music, poetry. I enjoy like painting, just being very creative. I think it's all like a creative sphere, but it's so many different like
layers and pockets and things.
Yeah, it's like one thing like serving others, and it goes to being a pediatric nurse, or you know, helping people with parties, and then just helping my family in general. So it's just like a bunch of little nuggets. So.
And so for me, I would say like my things, right? Yours is serving people. My things are like helping people live their best life, as well as shining light on others. Like I love that, and I love those things. And so out of it comes multiple YouTube channels, right? Multiple versions of the YouTube channel. But more than anything, it's outlets for me to be able to do those things, right? And so even with this podcast, the name has changed multiple times, and you know, I talked to Crystal about it first, right? You bounced it off, it helped me, and she's like, just call it Ricky Jones Jr. Podcast. Leave it there and do all your other things. Just leave it there. And but I'm like, no, it gotta, you know, I'm like all in type person too. So it's like, if this is where we are right now, this is what I'm gonna call it, and I'll change the name later. She's like, no. So it's like there's that part, but then I love talking, right? So, you know, any opportunity to talk, the podcast, the YouTube videos. So I love doing that. I love with clothing. I love not designing clothes, but making sure that your clothes are symbolic of like who you are. And so knowing like you are a walking billboard, right? So like you're looking fabtabulous in what you're wearing. However, like what if what you were wearing had something to do with like who you are and what you do, right? I'm always thinking like, don't advertise Gucci, right? No knock on Gucci.
Right.
But why would you advertise Gucci if your last name's not Gucci, or you're not profiting or benefiting from representing Gucci, right? Unless you're endorsed, rock it. You know what I'm saying? Because you get a check for it. But, but if it's outside of that, wear your brand. Wear who you are. Wear what you represent. So I'm always like mindful of that. Helping businesses. Like I love business. Just business in general. And so like helping people in their business, starting businesses, growing their business, finding different ways to do what they do better, or even marketing. Like I love that. And so to your point, there's so many different things, right? And even I laugh with Crystal and my mom and things, and people talking about all the different things that we do. And it's like, people may look at us, Crystal and I, and say, man, y'all do too much. It's like, y'all doing that, y'all doing that now, y'all doing that now. What are y'all doing? Because the world says you focus on a thing. To your point, you have a thing, and that's what you do, and that's what success is. Because if you're focused on 6 things, you can't do them well. You only can focus on one, because you only do one thing at a time. Okay, I hear that. But that's not true. People can multitask, you know. So I can do this at the same time, rubbing my head and pat my stomach, you know, and talking at the same time. Because I can look around and tell you what's in the room. So physically, I can actually do multiple things at a time. And to your point, right, there's that, what was that word that you said? That you get sometimes about talking about all the different gifts.
Oh, insecure.
Insecure, right? Sometimes I get insecure about all the different things that I do, and telling people all the different things that I want to do, because I don't want them to be like, oh man, like he ain't doing nothing. He's not going to do anything because he's not focused on a thing.
Right.
Like, no, like what if I can do 6 of them things in a week? Like, and so I think, you know, we just have to have more conversations around the multiplicity of the things that people can do and how it can be fruitful. Like, you know, because so we just gotta figure it out. We gotta figure it out, because God is multifaceted. God created everything that we see through the words that He said, and so it's like He didn't just create a world. He created a world with grass, with different types of grass, and animals, and different type of animals, and people, different color people, and trees, different type of trees, fruits, different type of fruits that grow in certain areas. So it's like, could it be that the gifts, the things that you want to do are all beneficial for the area that you're in? Right? Because you, I, and you could be a resource and a source for people to be outlets for God in those various bents, right? So your words, you could be a ghostwriter, right? Maybe you're not singing, but ghostwriting for others is a career, is a profession. And oftentimes those people try to come before the camera. But if you say, I can't sing, you'll stay behind, right? Because I'm even thinking like, Neo, ghostwriter, but also a singer too, and Sean Kingston or something, Sean Garrett. He's a writer, but then he came out, but he went back. But then the list goes on, right? Not to call out people, but all that to say, like, I think it's okay.
I think so too.
And I think we just have to be attentive to the voice of God and the Holy Spirit within us to know when is it time for X, right? When is it time to write or put out your writing? When is it time to do your child care, pediatric? Like, when is it time for those things? Or can I do all these things right now? Right? And I think even right now for myself, and you could talk about it as well, but for myself, I'm in a space where I'm like, God, I'm going to give it my all. And I'm going to make time for these things. And if I don't have time for a thing, I'll know it's not the time for that thing. And so, like, I'm doing a podcast, doing the YouTube, spending time with my family, spending time with my wife, working, being a friend to others, and being a child to my parents, right? All those things and hats that you have, but yet I still want to come out with my creative bent. So, like, how do you go about deciding which is now? Do I do these things, or like, are you still with the identity that I can do it, and let me figure out what to do with it, right? Because we do have an age gap, so I will respect that. But like, what have you done to like be mentally aware of the capabilities and abilities that you have?
What I've kind of been doing now is like you kind of said, if you don't have the time for it, then it's not the time to, start it. So, like, I just been kind of, when the opportunity, like, I'm like, okay, maybe I should try this. When the opportunity presents itself, and it's like, oh, like with school, like, it was like a scholarship they offer for military spouses. So I came across it so many times, and, like, I don't think it was the time for me to start school. So then when I finally looked into it, I'm like, oh, and it was like the perfect time for me to start school. And I'm just like, this is, God had me started right at this time. So I just feel like, when the time presents itself, it will be. And then a lot of stuff too, I just kind of like pursue it. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I like, and just go for it, and just like look into like, what can you do now to start doing it? So I'm like, okay, like, I've been trying to slowly start my YouTube. So like, I was sitting in like the doctor's office, and I was done with YouTube. I wasn't ready for it anymore. And then all of a sudden, God was just giving me these ideas of different videos to start making. And I'm like, I wrote like 15 ideas.
Nice.
And like before, when I first did it, I was struggling to come up with something. So I'm just like, what? So I'm like, write a list. I'm like, this is good. So I'm okay. And so I have that written down. So I think that's a good thing too, just to write things down. I enjoy doing this, so write it down. And then when the opportunity is ready, you go back to it. So I think I'm learning that it's okay that I like all these things. I just write them down and just, set up like kind of what I want out of it. What do I want to do with it? And then just when the opportunity kind of, I'm like, okay, it's time to pursue this, it's time to pursue that. But a lot of stuff like now, like just being a mom is one of my things too, just learning and adapting to that I can be that while, going to school. So it's like a lot of little things you can do together. So I just, write my stuff down and just let it play out. Kind of. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's kind of just where I'm at now. And my main thing is just learning that it's okay. I think I'm so hard on myself. Like, I'm like, why can't I just love one thing and just stick to it? But it's just like, okay, I'm accepting that I enjoy doing so many different things. So it's okay. Like, just pursue them and just, hear from God as you do it, and He'll reveal to you, I believe, when the time is to do it and how to go about it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love the idea that you shared about writing things down. Like, even as God shared with you lyrics, beats, you try to find different things to write things down. God gave you content for YouTube. What did you do? You wrote it down. So, like, I'm a writer too, in that respect. I write things down because I know that the mind, it's fleeting, right? Like, I'm here right now. However, I could be thinking about 6 different things, or when I go to the next thing, I forget what was said to me at that time. So it's like, no, you have to find a space or a thing to write things down because you don't want to lose the moment. So beyond that, like, where did you get the thought to say, let me write this down? Was it that you forgot some things before, or was it an always thing?
Kind of a little bit both, and just being around Crystal, she's always told me, she's like, write it down. And that's helped me a lot too, just like with planning certain things out. And when you write, literally when you write something down, you can visually see it.
So true.
So it's like, this sounds corny, but when you visually see something, it's like, oh, I'm capable of actually doing this. So, because like when it's in your brain, it's like, it's just a thought. So it's like, but you write it down, and then you start to look at it, and you start to see yourself with it. So like when you see and just write everything down, and that's gonna be something like you confess. Like that can be a confession.
Well,
you see it, and you look at it, and you're like, okay, I didn't forget about you. Know what I'm saying? It's something to hold you accountable to, as well. So I think, if anybody tells me, if I can give you one piece of advice, write it down. Write everything down, your thoughts. Even if, like, I used to write down things that made me feel insecure. It sounded crazy in my head. And then when I look at it, I'm like, this is so dumb. Wow. So, like, and then I would look and scratch it out, and that helped me. Like, I remember visualizing myself in my apartment in Georgia. It was just some things that God had me write down that I was feeling about myself, and I just looked at it, and I balled it up. And I can tell you right now, I don't even remember what was on that paper, because it just got removed from like my mental state. Like I just like, I'm done with this. So that's something that helped me too, just kind of work through a lot of insecurities. But I feel like writing things down helps you visualize it and just understand that it is something that's attainable. So
no, this is good. So bars, right? Another level of
right,
bars.
we need to go back and look.
Yeah, we gotta write these things down. But I will say, like, as you were talking, I was listening, hearing God, right? And as we were talking about how we have so many different things, we have so many creative flows for the kingdom in different ways in which we know we can have impact. The different desires that we have, the things that we want to do, and the things that God gives us the ability to do. Because it's not of ourselves, but it's of God that we're able to do.
Right.
List the thing after it, right? Because it's not of ourselves, right? We're not that smart. Right. We're not that creative. No, it's because of God, right? And so God was sharing with me how that's how you are, right? And, you know, I feel like he lumped me in there too, but we're talking about you right now. But that's how you are a disruptor for the kingdom of God, because you're disrupting the mindset that as people, right? Because it's in the world. However, as believers, as Christians, as kingdom citizens, we've adopted the world's way to say it has to be one way in order for you to be profitable, successful, rich, wealthy, or qualified. Like, no, it's not, right? Because we live for Christ and we live through the anointing that Holy Spirit has given us. And so the Holy Spirit gives us many different talents, many different gifts, many different anointings and creative bents, right? And so you listed yours, I listed mine. And I'm saying that to say, like, that's a way that you will be disruptive for the kingdom. You're saying to other believers, no, like, I can do this. I can do that. I will do this. I will do that. Like, look at me over a time span and not in a period of time. Because over this time span, be it a decade, you'll see 6 different things that I've done and the lives that it reached, the people that it impacted, and how the world is a better place because of it, as opposed to me trying to lock in one thing, desiring to do X, desiring to do Y, frustrated doing the one because you left behind the others. And so I believe that your life will be indicative of, like, no, if God put it in you, it's for a reason.
Exactly.
Let it out. And to what you even said, write it down, because maybe the time is not now, but I'll look back and say, oh snap, I am prepared for that. I do have that. If somebody comes to you, oh man, randomly, I need a song. Like, I have this like jingle and I just need a song, and like the title is, you know, how good the day is, and you think, oh snap, I got a song called Today is a Good Day. Like, wait a minute, and boom shakalaka. But like, how does that hit you? Like, how does that hit you? Being able to let others know, no, like, you can do multiple things.
I think, watch
me over time.
So like I was saying, like, you're just gravitating to that spirit and that genuine person. Like, okay, they went through it, so I can relate to them. And just somebody who's like relatable, not somebody who has like all the answers. Oh no, I was only like this, because it's like, okay, well, I'm not like that. I think just having that relatable person. And then like you were saying earlier, sometimes I think we think like, if I'm going to be a doctor, I have to be a doctor and get to it. But like, there's so many different things that God takes us on. Like, you could have just started, medical school just for you to encounter somebody, you know what I'm saying, and bless them. So it's a lot of different things that God takes us through just like for a season, but it's still something we're enjoying doing.
Yes.
And then we just meet. I'm just thinking back, I just met so many different people, like working in childcare, and just how many people have just messaged me like after, like, you're just such a light, you're such a bright spirit, you're so positive, you're so patient with the kids. And it was one of like the room leads, and I was working with her, and she was like, you actually changed like my mindset of how I need to be with them. I'm like, well, you've been doing this for longer than me, and I just came here, and you're getting affected by my spirit. So I think a lot of things that we do enjoy doing, it don't have to be like, oh, I just have to do it. No, we have to realize sometimes it's like the interactions with people, and I think that's what's really important, because at the end of the day, we want to bring people to God. So a lot of the stuff is just like, if I only went to here just so somebody can know about God, then I feel like that's a win. So I don't know.
Yeah, and so Chris and I were big on like purpose and destiny, right? And even as you were sharing your main thing as serving people,
how we're doing this
right? So that's where you was at. You did that. Your main thing was serving people, and out of serving people, the waters flow, right? And so at the end of the day, if you're able to, as who you are for the kingdom, your part and your purpose is to serve people. What this looks like is, boom, watch the flow, right? And I think now your life will be able to show people how you have a thing, right? And out of that thing, other ways to do that thing will take place, as long as you keep the thing in mind. Obviously allow God to lead and guide, and just watch what God can do. And I even love that, because if you limit yourself to a thing, you also as well will limit God. And you'll limit God to a thing, that then you'll be frustrated over time, right? You'll be frustrated over time, because you're like, man, I want to get out of this. I want to do more. I know there's more, but what is this? But no, I got to be a doctor. Right? I gotta be a doctor for the rest of my life. I gotta retire with a pension and a 401k, and the list goes on. But God may have more. In the midst of the more, there's always provision for where God is taking you. And so, I love that. So what more will we, as the world, will come in contact with Anijah? I know you say you started making your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so it's gonna be, my YouTube, I think it's gonna be a lot of just kind of like where I am now, just career-wise, being a mom, just a lot of like motherhood stuff. That's what kind of God's been leading me to do, a lot of motherhood stuff. And just kind of being like, I just feel like as mothers, as people too, but specifically with moms, we're so hard on ourselves, and we forget about ourselves. We forget to dream. We forget about all the things that God has put in us, because we just want to give our babies all the attention, all our love, and it's okay. I feel so guilty sometimes when I take a moment for me, but I think that's just kind of where God wants me just to talk more about. Just, it's okay to have this time for you. It's okay for you to dream. It's okay for you to want certain things for yourself. Like, you're not neglecting your child, because at the end of the day, it's God's child. So God has your child. So if you take a moment to do something for yourself, it's okay. And it starts with like little things. So that's kind of where he's been leading me to just kind of be an ally for moms, and just kind of talking about like the dreams and goals that you can still have as being a parent, and just navigating through that, the things that come with that. A lot of people don't talk about that comes with motherhood, like some things that I went through I didn't even know, because like a lot of people don't like to talk about like the hard parts of it. It's like, oh, being a mom is so great, it's so beautiful, and it's just like, okay, I went into that mindset about that, not to say that I don't like being a mom, but there's just some little things that happen that you don't, I didn't expect, or a lot of people don't talk about, which is normal. A lot of people go through them, but then it's normal to go through them, but a lot of moms are not talking about them. So you're just kind of like, huh? Is this new? And it's just like, when you start talking to other moms, like, no, I went through this too. And it's just like, oh, okay. So that's kind of where he's been leading me to go.
Wow, which is something totally different, right? That's a new way, a new bent, as opposed to where you were before. We use your same YouTube channel to do it? Okay.
Yeah. I kind of been slowly like trying to rebrand. I don't know. I feel like because I'm an adult now, I'm a mom, I'm married. I have to be more like, what's the word? Adultish.
Gotcha.
Like I have to
Polished.
more polished, more professional. If that's the word.
That's good. So, I don't even think about brand. That's good. I'm learning from you already.
Because I'm just like, okay, when people see, like you were just saying, like a visual representation, like when people see me, when people see my name, what do I want people to like tie to that? Okay, so little things like that, and just, I know for me, I go to different people's, I forgot what it's called, the word. It's not stealing, but you go to different people's and like pull little
inspiration
nuggets from that. So that's what I've kind of been doing. And I'm just like, okay, if I like looking outside and okay, I like that. So then I want to do that. Like I think about, okay, if I was somebody watching me, like, will I get bored with this? Will I be, distracted by this? Like little things like that. Like it can be simple as like you're a beginner on the YouTube thing. You know what I'm saying? Or like your picture. Like it needs to be all like, I don't know. Because that's something that I deal with. Because I'm like, I get distracted. I'm like, what is that? Or even like the background. You need something like, it's like simple stuff like that. So that's just like a little bit of things I've been
working through.
Yeah.
Okay. So when will the people, right? The people listening, when will they come in contact with this new reversion of
I don't have
YouTube?
Like a
start date.
Okay. But I've just been.
So by April.
Slowly.
By April, she will have the YouTube channel ready. You all will see it in the description come April, right? We're now in the month of February. Actually, it'll be March. Yeah, it'll be March. And so March we are in, so she has a month to get this party started, okay? So definitely pray for her, cheer her on, and be in the comments. You know what I'm saying? All those things go a long way. Now I got a question. You talked about the fact that you came in contact with self. You are a wife. You are a mother. What would you say out of the three is the hardest to do? Like, is it hard to be Anijah? Is it the hardest to be a wife, or it's hard to be a mom?
For me,
yes,
because this is what I'm working through now. I already feel good about being a mother. I already feel confident in myself. So it's like
being a wife.
So I think, because like with children, a lot of people think children helps, which is yes and no, because
that's so true.
You're putting all your energy into your child because you're just and if it's your first one, you're putting all your energy into your child. You kind of forget about your spouse. So that's kind of something I've been trying to work through, and then aside of, okay, well, I have to be more than just a mom. So then it's like, okay, I'm going to be focusing on me. And it's just like, my husband's just like, okay. So purposely making time. We've been talking, and we're going to actually like set a specific like day or night that we just like have like date night or something that's intentional. That's the word. Being intentional about spending time. Because you're like, no, I would never forget. And it's like, not that you're purposely forgetting. It's just like life gets so busy.
Correct.
Like you still want to, be yourself. You still want to be a mom. And then it's like, okay, if you're married, you want to still be there for your spouse. You don't want them to feel forgotten. So being intentional, okay, we're going to do this. This is going to be our day. Or, we do these days. We intentionally do this for family. So just like I think being intentional will help, just helping you create that time for that person, because as you get older it gets hard. And I think growing up I was like, why do people do this? And it's like, oh, now I see, because just life it gets so busy, and especially when the baby's first born, it's like a lot's happening with the mom, and then the dad too. A lot of people forget about the dad during that part too. It's like, okay, when you're pregnant it's all about the mom. It's like the dad's going through stuff too, and it's just like you just forget about everything. So just working through that. So yeah, we've actually been like in the process. Okay, what days are we gonna have be our day? Like, do we want to do 2 days out of the week? Do we want to do how you want to do it, and do like something for family and stuff like that? And we do like little check-ins. I think Crystal had told me about doing that, and just so we'll just sit down, and so nobody's offended. Even if we did something to make each other mad, we're like, okay, checking in right now. Like, how's your attitude? And I'm just like, okay, we're doing a check-in, so let me take down my guard, not be defensive about anything. So we'll just talk and just kind of feel each other and like, how do you feel right now? And it sounds dumb, but it's important to do that
So
because
important.
you stop communicating as much because now it's like, oh, we used to just lay in bed together at night now. The babies, I mean, I'm saying you got to deal with the babies. So I think making that time to actually, making that time to actually talk about things. And I think that's really important because we just feel like, oh, it's going to be okay. But you want to continue to water something. You want to just neglect it. I think that's what, happens. We're just, okay, my husband's fine. Like, now it's all about the baby. It's like, no, it's okay. Like, you have to figure it out. What's the word? Not prioritize. That's the word. Prioritize.
Yeah, or balance.
Balance. Okay. Yeah. Balance out everything and just understand it's okay that you have to do that. I think that's a healthy way versus just ignoring. Like, no, everything's fine. Just be intentional about the relationships you want. That's for any relationship.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the openness of you even sharing because being a wife is what you were and are. However, being a mom, it added another layer to or dimension really of what being a wife is now. Because it's not just that you're a wife to Zach. You're a wife to Zach, but you're also a mother as well, and you're still the other layers of who you are, but you're still Anijah, right? And Anijah's still figuring out Anijah in the midst of the changes. So, no, I love that. So, for the woman that's listening, right? And I'm sure this would be even beneficial to the male in her life. However, for the woman that's listening, that is a wife, that is a mom, that does have creative capabilities, how would you say that you've now got to the point that you say, I will do all those things. I will be all of those different facets of self, right? What would you say that they could use as a source of inspiration to do and to be a wife, a mom, and having creative capabilities? Are you still getting there? Oh,
like,
okay.
I don't know. Maybe not. Break it down one more time.
Okay. No, you're good. Because others are listening, right? And the ones that's listening, like, I think now they've realized that they can be multiple things at the same time, right? They can do multiple things at a given time, or they're under realization that there's somebody else like me that has multiple things that they want to do and is still trying to figure out how to do all these things. But in the midst of that, they're also a mom, right? They're also a wife, and they're also themselves, right? And so, like, with all those things on the table, with all those things on the plate, how would you say that you're now activated to being all those different things at the same time?
Okay, just knowing, well, mainly I have to be easy on myself. Like, don't be so hard on myself because it's a lot going on and then you feel like you're neglecting certain things. Just have to kind of like, okay, Aniajah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay that you enjoy doing things. It's okay you're a wife. It's okay you're a mom. So being easy on myself and just knowing, like, if God put it in me, then I'm capable of doing it. If there's something, if you can dream it, you can think about it, you're able to do it.
I love that.
So, and then, like, going back to writing it down, that really, really helps me. So I would say you have that thought. If it's a good thought, you write it down. If it's a bad thought, you write it down, you throw it away. Nice. So you can get that out of your head as well, because I think a lot of times, like, we have so many different voices in our head.
True.
You have our voice, you have the enemy's voice, and then, you know, so we get kind of, I know I do, I get into my head, but writing things down has really helped me. And knowing that you have to be, it's like that confidence, like coming from a very, very insecure person, I'm still working through my confidence and just knowing that I can do it. Like, it's okay, you can do it. Like, and not, and I think a genuine, like, humble person, like all the qualities that God wants us to be, I think that really what helps you. Because I always think, like, I don't want to be too, you know, overly cocky. But it's just like, no, like, when God is in you, like, those humbleness and that will come out of you. And I think that's something that people appreciate, like a humble person and a genuine person. Like, listen, I didn't have it all together, but this is what I'm doing now. Someone who can help you versus like, oh, well, I don't know, like, just not taking the time to listen. So I think that's what people need to see too. Okay, so me, for instance, like, once I start up my YouTube, I want people to be able to see, oh, I can do that too. oh, she's a mom like me. Oh, she messed up too. Oh, she has these thoughts too. This is what she does. Because a lot of stuff now I feel like is so perfect and so polished. We need some like rough and rawness to our lives to help us relate. I think relating is what kind of gets you to be like, okay, I can do that. She's doing it and she said this, so I can do it. What was the process she took? Oh, she told me the process? Okay, that's what I'm going through now. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, just go to A to B. And it's just like, whoa, what happened in there? Oh, I just got there. And it's just like, no, but really, what really happened? And a lot of people, I don't know why nobody wants to really talk about that, but I think that's the most important because people get so defeated and so kind of like, okay, like I don't want to like do this, and I don't know, I'm having these weird feelings, I'm having these doubts. Like, she didn't have this doubt, she just got, you know, she was so confident throughout the whole thing. And I just want people to see that no, it's a process. Like, sometimes you take 2 steps forward and sometimes you go back, and it's a process. But I think every day making the decision to want to do it, I think that's what's, you know, important.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. So no, it's good. I mean, because a lot is needed, right? And even on the YouTube channel, you will say more because you can't get it all out in that sound bite. But I will ask, if 15 years from now, your son is a teenager. He's a teenager.
Oh, wow.
What do you want his words about you to be?
I don't want to get emotional. Oh my god. Okay. Oh man. I know this sounds cheesy, but I want him to say that my mom was always full of light. Just positive. Zach makes fun of me about it. He's like, you're just so positive and just like a ray of light. And I want to be that. I want to be light. I want to be like happiness. I want to be peace. I want to be able to, well, I want him, you know, to say these things about me. Like, my mom is a ray of light. My mom is there for people. My mom wants to help people. So I think that those things, I don't know. I don't want to get emotional, so, but yeah.
I take that.
Yeah.
I take that. And to pull you out of that emotion, let me give you a thought. What would you want for people to learn from your story?
That it's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay not to have like the plan. Just, you don't have to know the end destination. You just gotta have the idea. Because that's something I'm a planner. I like to plan. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do, and at this time I'm gonna have this, and at this time I'm gonna have this, and it's just like, no. It's like, you have the idea, write it down, and just go into it. I think we like to rush time and like to just feel like we have to have it all done at one time. But I think the important thing too is you want to enjoy life while you're doing it. You don't want to be so focused on something. 5 years goes by and you're like, where did time go? Because you're so like honed on into one thing. Like, it's okay. Just, if you have the idea, just go through it and just enjoy life with it. It doesn't have to be all perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. Speak to myself. You don't have to have all the answers, because that's something I always be like, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Just have it and just go, and God will guide you.
That is so
I believe that God will guide you. So
I love that. I love that. And I also hope and pray that as Anijah shared her story, you're able to see it through your story, so that as you make those things better and make your story better, we'll be better people to be able to tell his story. And so, you know, it's all about God at the end of the day, right? And so we're just living epistles. We're just living testaments of the goodness of God, the love of God, the endurance and steadfastness of God, right? Even as he said, he'll never leave us nor forsake us. However, I believe that each and every person has and is indicative of the fact that he'll never leave us nor forsake us, no matter what things we've done, no matter what places we've been, no matter what thoughts we've had, no matter what words we've mentioned or said about ourselves. It's always God that's there with us and reminding us of who he called us to be, the abilities that we have, and the things that we'll do that allow for us to push on, press on, and to be all that God has called us to be. So thank you, Miss Anijah, for this talk time.
Having me.
Of course.
When you asked, I was just like, me? I don't, you know. I don't know.
But God, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But God. And God put it all together. And I'm excited for the things that you have in store.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
what's the name of your YouTube channel? What are your social media handles?
So I changed everything.
I love it.
Everything is Anijah Gafford. At Anijah Gafford on Instagram,
Okay.
TikTok,
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
What else do I have?
Facebook?
No.
Twitter?
No. Those three.
Okay.
At
So,
Anijah-
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Yes. Anijah Gafford.
All right.
Aniajah.
Boom. And you can look in the description down below. All of those things will be there. And make sure y'all go check her out in April. April the 3rd.
Oh my God.
Either the 1st, 3rd, or 5th. And go. So by the 5th, go check out the YouTube channel Aniajah Gafford. And you'll be able to see her first video of the new. Are you going to keep the other ones up?
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I be keeping up because I think it tells a story of like how you evolve. Like I have from our first video on the family channel, which have had many versions. Our first video from when we were about to start doing a film that you're even a part of. Like from there all the way to like now moving to South Africa. So
that
if people
is good to see,
take
like,
time,
the
journey,
the journey.
And I even love it to be able to see like raining.
Yeah.
From the beginning to Rain now, Ricky from the beginning to Ricky now.
Yeah.
So
I'll probably keep it in there. Just probably make like a transition video
Boom.
or something. Yeah.
Boom. So y'all will see that. Y'all will see the things that she has done, as well as you can cheer on the things that she will do. So with that being said, great people, I love you all. I appreciate you all. I really, really do. And show Anijah love as she showed you love. So until next time, peace.